Hey y'all, and welcome to Skyrim Scripting. This episode is all about properties. Properties, what are they good for? Now, properties are used mainly in scripts for two things. Connecting data in your script, like your script wants access to a spell or a quest or something like that. You can connect the creation kit to your script, sort of. We'll get into it in a little bit more detail. So there's really two things you use it for. One is when you're in the creation kit and you're accessing like a spell or a quest and you want to access those things in your scripts. And the other thing is connecting scripts together. So these are the two things that we're going to try and look at in this episode. I think the next episode is going to be all about scripts. So if you're watching this one and any of the script stuff seems a little bit too much, then maybe not head on over there now, but after this, you may want to check out the script episode. I don't know what it's called yet. I'm going to record it after this. Okay. What do we do? Let's make a mod. Let's make a mod. I'm small now. Hello. Let's make a mod. What should we do? God, I wish this were Twitch and you were here and you could tell me what to do. This is not MCM tutorials. What should we do? Okay, I thought about it. We're going to have a spell and we're going to have a quest. And we're going to have them use each other. We're going to have the quest. When it loads up, we're going to have it give the player the spell. We've done that before. And then we're going to have the spell edit something on the quest, like change its stage or something. I don't know. Let's get started. Let's call it props. Fire truck, fire truck. It's probably going to go again in a second. Let's wait for it. It's going to do it. It's going to do it. That's fine. Is it going to do it or what? There we go. I was waiting for that. Let me pause. Okay, they're gone. That was... Nope, they're not gone. Okay, probably a little bit more sirens than you expected, but this is Skyrim scripting after all. So let's open up the creation kit. I think they're gone. Let's make a mod. We're going to call it props. Property props. Let's make a quest. We'll call it props quest. Props quest. And we're going to hit OK. And then we're going to open it again. And we're going to add a script. We're going to add a quest script. We're going to add a script. A script to the quest. We're going to add a script. Props quest script. We might use a player script too. We've done this before. Let's do reference alias player ref. The specific reference, the select force reference, the cell any. We've been here before. We've done this, and we add the script. And this one will be props player script. Extends a reference alias. And then let's go make a spell, which we've also done before. And we always forget to connect the spell with the effect, so we crash the game. So we'll make the effect first this time. Props effect. Props effect. Fire and forget. Magic skill conjuration. Give it a script. Props effect script. We need stuff. We need stuff to put properties on, and we're going to have some stuff. So here's our stuff. Props spell, and we'll just call it props. And it's a fire and forget, and we'll add our props effect. Save. Now what you're going to do is you're going to search for all the prop stuff, and as always, we're going to edit the quest player script, the quest main quest script, the effect script, you can just go up here to the Papyrus Script Manager if you want to and search for props. And you could edit them in external editor right from here, but you probably want to open these up and right-click Edit Source. And you know what's about to happen. I'm going to Visual Studio Code. Be right back. Okay. I'm in Visual Studio Code, as always. I got scripts. I got 3 of them. We got the effect script, we got the player script, we got the quest script. Let's hook these all things together with properties. Then we're going to use properties kind of for other stuff, but to start with, we're just going to use kind of the conventional property that most people are familiar with. And then we'll look at properties in a little bit more detail. So let's give the player, first let's give the quest the spell. So we've done this before, spell, we're going to call it property, spell property, props spell auto. Okay. So we're going to bind the quest to the spell so it gets kind of a reference to it. And then let's give the player script the quest. We could say quest property. Yeah, sure, we'll do this to start with. Props player script auto. Okay. Oh, but you can't because the same name. Okay, fine. Fine. I mean, I was going to show you something that we didn't want to do anyway. Sure. I'll show it to you kind of the not ideal way. So this has a spell. This has a quest. And the magical effect will give it the quest too. So it'll have the quest. Save. Compile using your Control S and whatever. Control S, all those 3 things. I'm going to put this into my Git because I might want to make some changes and then undo them in a second. Hold on. Oh, I saved this stuff into my Git. Might want to undo some of the stuff that we've been doing. So here I am in Creation Kit. We want to give the quest the spell and the other stuff the quest. So we're going to go to the quest, go to the script, edit properties, and because we compiled it, it should have this spell. And if we autofill all, because we named the whatchamacallit, the spell prop spell, it automatically knew how to find that and join it up. Now, all that did was it went to this little spell drop down and it automatically picked it for us. If we had all of Skyrim loaded, this would give you all the spells in the game. All it did was look in the spell list and find the one that matches the same name as your property. And the fact that it says autofill all has nothing to do with the fact that this says auto, which we'll know by the end of the episode. This auto means something completely different, which I found so confusing. Alright, so I will do that, and then we'll give the spell effect. We're gonna give the player script the quest, which there's a way to get this without doing this, but who cares? I'm showing you I'm showing you ways to do it. So quest autofill all doesn't work because we didn't name it the exact same thing, but we can pick a quest and get the quest. Cool. Let's do the same thing for our magical effect. Properties. Quest. It won't autofill. We need to choose it from the list. Cool. Now, I kind of don't want to save. I kind of want to show you what this is doing. We can save that as a bonus. I wanted to show you what this is doing. When we hit save, it's going to actually save, it's going to make a change in the ESP plugin file where it actually, it knows that these things, like the quests, are mapped to a script, okay? And then when we hit save right now, it's going to add a little thing that says there's a variable that connects the script to the spell and stuff like that. So we're going to save. Let's use this. Let's have, normally what we would do is say event on init and event. We'd say game get player add spell prop spell. We could do that and that would work, but we would be learning bubkiss about properties. Bubkiss, I say, bubkiss. What we're going to do is we're going to go to the player script. The player script has a reference to the quest. So because it has a reference to the quest, it should have a reference to the spell through the quest. So we're going to go to on init for the player. And from the player, this represents the player, but we can still say game.getPlayer because we didn't map the player ref to this, because we could have actor property player ref auto, and that's a good example of a property that people do all the time. So do that, compile that. That's your player script. Compile that. Go into CK. Go to your player script. Edit properties. And just hit autofill all, and it will populate the player ref so that you get the player ref. So that's an actor. It represents the player. So now that we got that, instead of game.getPlayer, we can say player ref.add spell, and we want the spell. Now we could just join the spell to this player script. Easy peasy. Do literally exactly what we did here. Copy and paste this code. Copy, paste, compile it, and go over to that properties box again, and it'll show up. You have to compile it or it won't show up in that box. But then we're learning bubkiss. What I want to show you is how we could use our access that we have to the quest, this quest, to get at the spell via its properties. So what we could do is we could try and say the props player script dot, and this is going to show us all the things that a quest has. Let me put that sidebar away. You can complete the quest. You can fail all of the objectives. You can say a stage is done, an objective is completed or failed. Check if the quest is running. All kinds of cool stuff you can do. So let's see if we can get our prop spell. It's not there. Why is it not there? Well, we got a reference to an arbitrary quest, just like an arbitrary quest. But what we're going to do, and this will come up a little bit more in our scripts episode, is we don't want a reference to the quest necessarily. We want a reference to the specifically the props quest, the props quest script. Now there's two ways to do that, and this way should work. We should be able to say props quest script equals the props player scripts, that's the reference to the quest, as props quest script. And now that we have that, I say quest script, and I say, there's the prop spell. It's right there, see it? We could do this. We got it through a property, because we have access to the quest. Now I want to see if this works. This isn't what you would do. You wouldn't do this casting nonsense. You wouldn't do that. We could see if it works. This probably works. But what you instead would do is you would make your property, make the type of it, just like this is an actor, and we had a quest before. Instead of just having it be a generic quest, specifically put the script here. Put the script there. And then you can say props quest script or something like that. Okay? I'm going to comment that stuff out, and I'm going to compile, and let's go back to the properties dialog for the player script. Here is the player script, and here's the properties dialog. Now we've got this new one called quest script. Let's try and autofill it. It doesn't autofill, but we can go to edit value, and it lets us pick an object. Lets us pick a quest that has this script attached to it. So it's just going to be the props quest. We're going to hit OK. We're going to go back to our code. I want to save this creation kit stuff. Save. Now what we got our player script has references to two things. The player itself, via a property that we bound via the creation kit, it's property. Now if you just, if this weren't a property, if you said like actor NPC ref, save, save, compile, go back to creation kit, go back to the player ref. It's compiled, so look at the properties. He's not there. He's not there. These things are called private fields. If you don't add property, then it won't work. And if you try and compile this, it won't work. You need to add the auto afterwards. People in this city, for God's sake. Oh my God. So let's use these properties. We're going to say playerref dot add spell quest script dot prop spell, because we got this via a public property. That's all properties are public. Prop spell over here. So it should work. Save, build. Does everything compile okay? Cool. Let's go to the game. Shoo. Shoo. Give me the game. Give me the game. Oh, I should turn on my new mod that I made. I made a mod so that it rains all the time. Oh, I'm going to put my mod on. I just made this mod today called Always Rainy in Skyrim. I'm going to put that in my mods, refresh, and let's have it rain while we're there. But we really are just hopping in the game to make sure that they got the spell. They should have the spell, and it should show up in the upper left corner. We should see player got the spell. If it didn't, then our properties aren't all connected right. Upper left. Props added. Woo, we got the spell, we got this conjuration thing, and we can cast it. Let's have casting it do something. You like the rain? What should it do? I want to give the quests access to something. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do. I got this. We're going to creation kit. We're going to make a global variable, just real quick like. Just real quick. And then we're going to give the global variable, we're going to bind it to the quest. In a lot of my mods, my quest is bound to all kinds of stuff. It's got like 10 properties. It's got 10 properties. And I generally don't want to bind all those things to my other objects. It's just a pain. So all my other objects, they just have a reference to the quest. So my spell's got a reference to the quest. My other spell's got a reference to the quest. My object, my like barrel, has a reference to the quest. My NPC has a reference to the quest. The quest has a reference to all the stuff. Now that may be an anti-pattern. It may be a good pattern. I don't know. But it works well. So I don't have to deal with properties on a trillion different objects. So let's go to miscellaneous global. We're gonna make a global. We're gonna call it. Why did this load up the entire? I loaded the wrong mod. So now we're here. We're in props. We're in global. Adding new props global. Props global. We'll make it a float. We'll call it props global. And hit OK and save. And now in your code, go to your quest. And in the quest, we're going to say global variable property props global auto. Save. Compile. Go back to creation kit. Go to your quest. Go to your quest script. Go to properties. And say autofill all. And it autofills that properties global. Cool. Coolio. Cool, cool, cool. Here, I'll keep it open for now. So what we got now is we've got a quest script that points at the spell and the global. Let's have our magical effect. I don't know, change the global. So event on effect start. And this is going to be a gentle kind of push into the way to do manual properties, which is what we're about to learn. Event starts. These two actors, which we don't care about, actor target, actor caster, and event. Now, we're here in our effect script. Let's like, I don't know, increment the value of the global variable. So what we'll do is we can say, first of all, we need to do what we did here. I was showing you this with the generic quest as an example of what not to do. Excuse me. To build it, go to your effect script. Excuse me, I need T. Go to your effect script. You know what to do. Go to the properties and update the property. Have you done it? Did you do it? Effect. Where's effect? There's effect. You're way ahead of me. It won't autofill, so you just choose it, edit, boop, there's your quest. Sorry, I was way behind you. So now what we can do is, let's get the global variable value through the quest. So we'll, and then we'll increment it. We'll say float, should have just done an integer, but whatever. Value equals quest script dot. There should also be a, what did we call the global? Props global dot. Now we got a global get value. And now we'll like add 1 to it. We'll say quest script dot props global set value value plus 1. And then we'll say debug message box global value and the new value. We could just print out what the value was. We get the value, we print it out, and then we increment it. Build. I know this seems ridiculous, but it's gonna incrementally get us towards properties. We're about to do manual properties, which you gotta know. You gotta know. It's going to explain what that auto nonsense is. And you want to know what that is. You don't want to spend the rest of your life wondering like what that auto is there for. You don't want to. You just don't. That is creepy. Like my brain. So here's conjuration. Here's our props. And let's cast it. The value is 0. Let's cast it. The value is 1. Cast it. Value is 2. Cool. Peace out. But right now we're digging into the quest and we're like digging into its properties, which is great. That's how we're showing stuff. But I kind of want to show you a function, but we already did the functions episode. Here's what we'll do. We're going to clean this up a little bit. We're going to ask the quest script for the value. We're not going to dig into that global. We're just going to do something simpler. We're going to say float value equals, I should have made it an integer, quest script dot the value. Okay? And then we will try and set quest script the value equal to 5. And then we will debug message box we'll try and set it equal to value plus 1. We'll get the value through this weird the value thing. We'll set the value thing. This is basically like as if it were a spell, like or any other property. Quest script dot prop spell. You can call dot on this and cast it. You could also set it equal to a spell. and you can just say spell the spell equals. But we're gonna make this value thingy. Let's head on over to the quest script. So what we're gonna do is we're basically kind of we're hiding this. We're gonna hide this global variable from our consumers, like the player or the magical effect, so that they don't have to dig deep into the global variable. We'll actually turn this into a private field. And the other scripts won't know. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a property called the value. It's going to be a float because that's what we decided for some stupid reason for the global. So it goes like this. It goes float property the value. And now we can say auto and give this a second. Come on, update. Float property the value auto. Cool. I waited a second and it loaded. So here we go. And right now all it is a random float. It's not bound to anything. It's just a float. You can even set it equal to like a constant. Let's see this work. And then we'll do the manual version. So instead of binding something to creation kit, all we have is we made a property. And the benefit of it is this. Let's put string the string. Go to your effect script. Now do quest script dot the string. It's not there. But make the string a property. And now the string is there. Okay? The properties let us access them. We're going to cast our spell. It says 1 because I guess in our code what we did was this time we got the value, we incremented the value, and then we print out the new value. So it's 1 because it was 0, and now it should be 2, and now it should be 3, and now it should be 4. But. And now we're not even using this global variable, but we could make our own property that wraps the global variable. Don't worry about why. You just got to learn how to do it, and you can make it wrap whatever you want. So if you get rid of the auto and you try and compile, it's going to fail because it expected a function. So you made this property and it expected a function? What the heck? Why? Because here's how you actually define properties. In this case, I would make it a big P, but whatever, unless I'm using my own whatever. So it doesn't matter, big or small. Property of the value, and then you use end property, and then you put a function inside of it. So you make a function that will return this float. So I'm going to say float. Just let's pretend that we have a regular function that returns a float. We'll say float, return float, function, end function, and we'll just return 1.234. Okay? What we do is just put that function inside, fucking cars, put that function inside of the value, but you have to name it get. Okay, now if I save and I compile, it's going to say that compilation failed because on line 7 of props effect script, which is right here where we try and set the value, we're trying to set the value. It says the property, the value, the one that we defined right here, says right here. Can you see it behind me? Value on script is read only. You cannot give it a value. It's because we only define get. We didn't define set. So then you make a function called set, which takes a float. I just call it value usually, and function. And it's supposed to do something. It's supposed to set some variable somewhere or do whatever. Like I usually use this to wrap configuration values. So I've got a bunch of scripts that all call my quest, and they're like, hey quest, could you please configure this for me? And my quest is like, cool. And all my other scripts have no idea what the quest actually did. They don't know whether it used global variables or JSON files or whatever. And I can change all that stuff behind the scenes because all the scripts, they just interact with this property thing, and the property can do whatever it is. So I'm going to recompile. It'll compile. Set doesn't do anything. Doesn't do a darn thing. If we run this, it's going to say value equals 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to set the value equal to 1 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, but set doesn't do bubkiss. So then when we get the value again, it's just going to call get, and it's just going to return 1, 2, 3, 4 again. I don't think I need to run that. I think you can see that, right? So you could use this to wrap something. Like what we'll do is we'll get, what is our global called? The global or props global or something? Should be get value, right? And then props global set value. I don't know why it's not completing. Compile. Cool. So now what we did was we got this new property called the value. It wraps the global variable. Let's see if it works. Can you get a global variable from the Skyrim console? Let's have it rain and then I'll check real quick. I love this rain mod. It took me about an hour to make it work. I mean, I had to figure out how to make it work with sleeping and waiting and all kinds of stuff. But screencast is coming soon for that. Let me check on this. Cool. I've always used set to set global variables. I wasn't sure how to get one. Cool. So let's cast our spell. Now the spell is calling the quest, and it's saying, hey quest, please set the value to whatever. Here's 1, and here's 2, here's 3. Cool. And we can get global variable, apparently, props global. Aww, that's what it says it's supposed to do. Show global vars. Oh, that's going to take a while. There it is. Props global is right there at the bottom. Now it's 4. Show global vars is 4. So it shows us that the global variable got updated. Now here's where it's really useful. The effect is using the value. And that's what it uses for everything. It just uses the value. That's its public interface for the quest. Now the quest could decide, I don't want to use the global variable. I don't want to use it. I'm going to store some just some simple float called my float right here. And I'll just return my float. And I'll set my float. My float equals value. Now if we compile and run the game, the behavior should be identical, and the effect, the magical effect, has no idea. It's got no idea that you made any changes. All it knows is that it's setting the value. I wonder if it's gonna rain. It's gonna rain. Spoiler alert. Ooh, thunderstorm. Cool. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's go to show global vars. Props global is set to 0 because we're not even using it. quest decided that it was going to do something else. I often use this for things like initially when I make a mod, I'll have all my configuration just in these little private variables. That's what these are called, just little private variables. They're not accessible from other scripts. Like I said, you cannot do questscript.myfloat. It won't work. Questscript.myfloat. You can't get it. It has to be a property. And what property auto means, here's what property auto means. You're ready for this. You're finally ready. Property myfloat auto. Okay. Now let's try myfloat. Questscript.myfloat. It's right there. We can access it, we can get it, and we can post it. Guess what auto means. I'm going to drink my tea. It has nothing to do with auto connecting things to CreationKit. That's what I thought initially. Guess what it means? What do you think auto means? Auto means that it'll take this myfloat thing, and it will automatically create the get and set functions for you. So this line of code is identical to if you wrote out the entire thing like this. So myfloat, if you said property myfloat and return myfloat, say myfloat equals whatever, these are identical. The only gotcha is there's a float called like myfloat that gets created in the background, and it hides that private variable. This is called variable encapsulation. Did I call it the right thing? Float, myfloat, return, myfloat. myFloat equals value. Wait, what's up with this thing? My Visual Studio Code. Of course, happy now. I just had to comment out this myFloat up here. Oh, yeah, okay, sure. Now here's a fun thing we can do. I'm going to make a property that's an auto property. Float property, the value, auto. We'll go back to making an auto one. So again, the behavior here doesn't change. So far as the magical effect cares, it doesn't know we're making any changes. We're making all kinds of changes in the quest, but it doesn't know and it doesn't care. So we're gonna compile. Here's what we're gonna do because it's gonna be fun. We're gonna run the game, and it's gonna rain. Always raining in Skyrim. When you make a mod that makes it. I thought we'd be able to make that mod in like 15 minutes. It took an hour. We made the base mod in like 15 minutes, but then it took me forever to figure out some extra stuff. Cast our spell. Okay, 1. Set it to 3. Now let's save our game. New save. Let's peace out. Let's go to our saves. Documents, My Games, Skyrim Special Edition, Saves. Sort this by date modified. So here's the one that we just did. I guess I don't have that associated with Resaver because this is a new machine. Cool, here's Resaver. And we're going to go out to our script instances for our script, which is called props quest script. Props quest script. Now we made a float property called the value. Now I don't think I can zoom in here, but what actually happened behind the scenes is there's actually all it does, that auto thing, it makes a float variable called the float underscore var. You see that? Up there. Down there. Right there. You need HD probably to look at it. That right there says the value underscore var. And all it did was it made that, and auto just wrapped it. So auto just makes a private field, and it wraps it with a property with a get function and a set function. Now these things are called getters and setters. All kinds of languages have them. In Java, you call .get something, .set something. In C#, they're called properties, just like this. So yeah, what else should we learn about properties? We have learned that you can call them from one script to another. Yeah. What else do you want to know about properties? Let me keep this one on the screen so you can see it. Let's go back to the one that was a manual property. That's what I call it. I don't know what Bethesda calls it. If we go to creationkit.com, there's a wonderful scripting reference if you haven't been there already. Right here, scripting reference. And then over here on the right, there's a thing about variables and properties. Auto properties, they call these other ones full properties. So there's a bunch of documentation here. And as you can see, this is where the value is stored by default. In something var is what the auto properties do. And you can even make auto read-only ones. If you want to make something that's a property and have other scripts read that property, but make it so that other scripts can't change the property. So you can make it auto, but still make it read-only so nobody can mess with it. That's really useful for constant values. You know, I'll do this stuff all the time. I'll do in my script I'll have like a string menu name equals console, or I just recently had a wait sleep menu or something. I'll have some string that I want to use in a bunch of places, and so I'll do this. But it's suddenly other scripts will want to share the same value. So what I do is I just make it a property. If you do that, it won't like that, but you can say equals value auto read only, and it'll love that. That works great. And then all of a sudden you can go like quest script dot menu name and get it. It's right there. Sweet. Properties. Ta-da! You can use them to bind stuff to CreationKit, which is a really lazy, really wonderful thing. And if you give the variable name, because it goes like variable type, quest, property, variable name, like actor, property, player ref, auto. If you make one of those puppies, you can hook it up to CreationKit. It shouldn't even need to be auto. You can hook it up to CreationKit so long as it can read and write it. So CreationKit doesn't know, it just knows it's a property. But then for interscript communication, which we haven't really gotten into, when scripts talk to one another, which you got a big look into here, properties are super useful, and they're useful for encapsulating things, which might not seem like it's useful to you right now, but over time, if you do a bunch of scripting, you'll totally want to encapsulate the bejesus out of all kinds of stuff. Sounds dirty. So I think that's it. I don't know what's coming next. I think it might be all about scripts. I'm going to record it in like 2 seconds after I drink my tea. And this was Skyrim Scripting. Happy modding, everyone. All right. Happy modding. Bye.